Hey everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have the Dollar Tree Mystery Box Challenge. The mastermind behind the Dollar Tree Mystery Box Challenge is my dear friend Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. She picks a group of YouTubers and we each have to send out 8 to 10 Dollar Tree items in a box and we send it off to the next person. Now there's going to be 2 challenge items in these boxes. They're a little bit more challenging than the rest. But the goal is to create beautiful home decor items out of the stuff that we receive in our box. So I'll have the link to the playlist where you can hop from each YouTuber onto the next, and basically one's gonna send the box to the next one and so on and so forth until you come around and you'll get to see all of the projects from this challenge. So the first things first, we gotta unbox the items on camera. I opened it up, but I haven't looked in, so I don't know what's in here. So you and I are gonna do this together. Oh, and quick, before I start, the person who sent me the box was Kristen over at Kristen K. I'll link to her channel below as well. And the person I sent my box to was Jennifer from A Little Bit of Calm and Crazy. I'll have her link as well. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, I haven't seen this. This is new. My Dollar Tree doesn't have this. Okay, so this first one is called Mesh Tube. But yeah, that's weird. Look at that. Here we go. It's kind of like, oh man, that's really pretty. It's kind of hollow inside, but it's a little rope. What? All right, next. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, it's a little floating shelf. You know, I haven't seen these either. My Dollar Trees have been slacking. What else? Man, she's killing it. Premier Home Raffia, and it's gray. Oh my gosh. I hadn't seen this. What? Found a little note. Yummy, I hope you can make sense of all the random items in this box. I love watching your home renovation videos. Cannot wait to see more. Really need to buy other cards besides thank you ones. The challenge items are in the yellow bag. Kristen. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kristen. I like your thank you card. Okay. All right. So we have this cute little home. Oh, look at these stencils. All right, self-adhesive stencils. Oh, these are pretty. It's perfect for fall, right? Like the feathers. Ooh. All right, and I guess to go with the that little first rope that I showed you guys, it's called burlap ribbon. All right. Oh, I love this. Oh, I actually have one of these. Yep, the little house. Isn't that cute? Come on, Kristen, this is cute. I don't want to like mess this up. It's cute just the way it is. A little pumpkin. There we go. Oh yes. You know what? I have nautical rope already. So if this isn't enough, I'll use some for my stash. All right, mystery items. All right, here we go. I hope you were nice to me, Kristen. All right. Oh, okay. A butter dish. A butter dish. All right. Okay. Okay. And what's it called? Burner covers. Okay. And there's 2 of them in here. Yeah, I think, right? Yeah, 2 pieces. All right. So burner covers. Let's get started. So the first item I picked was the smaller one of the burner covers, and I took some spray paint that I had in the color black and gave it a coat both on the back and the front. I had this mirror from Dollar Tree that I've had for quite a while. It's kind of broken and I never really repaired it, so I thought this would be great for this. I wanted to include it inside of that little metal piece, but first I needed to raise it up because it wouldn't lay flat because of the size and the tapering of the edge of the burner cover. So I had this random piece of wood, and with some Gorilla Glue and a combination of hot glue, I glued it on to the bottom center of the little cover, and then I glued the mirror onto the wood piece, and that way it kind of floated and it was a lot more even than it would have been if I had put it in by itself. I took some of that nautical rope and I wrapped it around the frame, and what I usually do is before I cut off or remove that piece of tape at the very end, I take a little bit of hot glue and just spread it through the ends before I remove the tape so it doesn't just fall apart when I take it off. I then hot glued the rope around the frame, leaving the portion on the top free so that I can have some slack for it to hang. I cut the other end of the rope once I knew how much slack I needed, and I glued it on to the other edge. After it was dry, it was ready to hang up on the wall. So for the next DIY, I'm going to be using those really pretty feather stencils, as well as this canvas that I actually already had on hand from Dollar Tree. I took the longest feather and placed it straight and in the middle of the canvas frame. And with some bronze paint, I began to paint the feather in. I took the next size feather and placed it to the right of the original feather and began to paint it in with some copper paint. I took another feather and I placed it on the left side of the center feather and began to paint it in with gold paint. Once dry, here is how it looked. For the next DIY, I took this little house, and even though it's cute by itself, I thought I would give it a makeover and remove the heart. Then I took the little home sign and removed the letters home from the base. It will take a little bit of effort, but it will come out. Then I took my miter shears that I love to cut wood for my crafts, and I cut out all of the letters individually. Now you can totally use the pre-cut wood letters that Dollar Tree carries. However, since I was trying to use up my Dollar Tree mystery box items, this is what I chose to do for this. I removed the little O because I didn't like the way it looked, and I played around with either a pumpkin or a leaf, and then finally went with a little leaf to replace the O. I sanded off any excess glue or residue that was on the house before I gave it a nice coat of white paint in the color White Adirondack. I set that aside, and then I used some antiquing wax to give a stained finish to the little letters and the leaf. Once everything was dry, I figured out where I wanted the letters and the leaf to go, and then I used some hot glue to adhere it onto the little house. And that was it for this DIY.
Now for the next DIY, I'm going to take the other burner cover, the one that's larger, and I am going to cover this up with that nautical rope. I began wrapping the rope around from the perimeter and working my way in. That way the circular motion would stay pretty even. If I started from the center and worked my way out, it actually might not look very even, or I might go toward one side more than the other, so I figured working from the outside in was better. I tried my best to make the seams as clean as possible and kept wrapping towards the center. Once the inside of the burner cover was fully covered with rope, I went to the outside again and added one layer right on top of the very edge. And then after that one was done, I added a second layer on the outside of that. This way I would cover up the metal rim, and then I would have an additional space for rope to go underneath and cover the rest of the plate on the bottom. I wanted some handles for this tray, so I decided to do something a little different and use some leather. This was actually left over from a previous project, and I got a strip and I cut it in half. Using some hot glue, I adhered it to either end of the tray, making sure that I actually adhered those strands where there were seams. That way you could not see any from the sides. And this is how that project turned out. This next one, I am going to use this rope, and I am going to be creating these cute little loops with them. So the first thing I did was cut them down into even strands. And you probably already figured out that I decided to create a cute little chain link garland out of this rope. I used hot glue to adhere the ends, and I tried not to squish it too much so that the little hoop would remain as even as possible throughout the entire length. Now I think this would look darling on a rustic Christmas tree or a farmhouse inspired Christmas tree, but since I didn't have mine up yet, I just laid it across the tray, and I think it looks great as a layering piece for like a coffee table or end table. But yeah, I think this turned out pretty cute. Alright, so for the next piece, we're going to be using this little butter container. And the first thing I decided to do was to glue the two pieces together. I used a combination of Gorilla Glue and hot glue. Next, I took some Dollar Tree foam that I had on hand and glued it to the inside of the butter dish. And then I got some moss and glued it down as well, making sure to cover up all of the little edges. I had a couple of Dollar Tree succulents left over from springtime, and I decided to go ahead and insert them in this little dish and make a cute little succulent planter. And that is it for this DIY. Here are all the items side by side. I think they all have these beautiful neutral tones. They're almost boho inspired, I guess, even though I'm not really into boho, but I think they would work for that. You can use them any time of year or even now in the fall.
So that's it. As always, these mystery box Dollar Tree challenges are actually so much fun for us to do. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching. Let me know in the comments below which one of these was your favorite. And don't forget to check out the links in the description box below. Head on over to Kristen and Jennifer's channel, as well as everybody else who participated in the mystery box challenge, to see what they came up with their items. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios.